Hey now, and welcome to episode 11 of the Booker Corrigan Show here on YouTube. Thank you to Sebastian Martinez for making things happen. He is our executive producer, our assistant producer, our safety coordinator. He's our link to OSHA and Occupational Safety and Hazards Administration. He's the guy. He's the guy. So thank you to Sebastian for making all this happen. Also, congratulations. Last week I told you I was going to give away this stick. Austin Cito, you are the winner. And we will make sure we reach out to you and get this stick into your hands, my friend. And if you want to win, just simply retweet this episode after it's finished when I tweet it out, and we're going to give away that shirt right there, the Under Armour All-American shirt. The Under Armour Underclass Tryouts are the premier showcase for lacrosse recruiting, as well as measuring yourself against the best competition in your region. Make sure you go to underarmourlacrosse.com and find out how you can be a part of it. Sorry if I look like I'm a little bit sunburnt, but I was down in the most gorgeous hotel in Jacksonville Beach. I was fortunate enough to do the Moe's Classic for CBS Sports Net with the best production crew you can imagine down in Jacksonville. Unfortunately, the Dolphins lost. Well, and I say unfortunately, they lost to Utah. I only say unfortunately because Johnny Galloway, the head coach at Jacksonville, is a phenomenal, amazing person, and they're the ones who are hosting the event. So as the color guy, as the analyst, I kind of root for the team that's hosting the event. Conversely, Brian Holman, the head coach of the victorious Utah Utes, is one of my favorite people in the sport of lacrosse. So somebody I absolutely love in the game was going to win that day, and somebody who I absolutely love in the game was going to lose that day. Utah won, Jacksonville lost. They both those coaches run phenomenal programs. Both those coaches are amazing people. They're helping young men become the best possible version of themselves. Now, laxgow.com, the Lax Game of the Week, tomorrow, Thursday, Ponte Vedra against Gilman. Coach John Nostrand's debut as the new head coach of the Gilman Greyhounds. We will be on campus at Gilman doing that game. Bob Shriver and I cannot wait. It's half a laugh and half getting a little emotional. If you ever had the chance to broadcast the game with Bob Shriver, you would know the joy that I'm going to wake up with tomorrow, because he's one of my most favorite people. He is somebody who helped me have a better relationship with my kids, which is as important as you can imagine. You know, being a single father is not easy, and my kids are fortunate enough to have great adults in their lives, great coaches. My son plays for Brian Kelly at Goucher. They're on a little winning streak. We also have my daughter, Mary, is a junior at McDonough. And to be quite honest with you, Bob Shriver could not be nicer to my kids. And that's, as a father, that's all you really want in the world, is someone to look out for your kids. I was a school teacher for 19 years. I looked out for a lot of other people's kids, and it's nice to have somebody who can do the same for you. And you know, he would always do anything he could to help them. So it's a thrill for me for tomorrow. Let's get serious. Stop with the emotion stuff. laxgow.com is where you can see the game tomorrow. Let's bring on the real talent. Let's bring on the guys that are phenomenal at this. We're going to call Bubba first, get him on speaker. Let's see if we can do this. This is a new phone. My daughter Mary and I got new phones last week, so it's a little, I'm still getting to know it all that well.
Booker!
Hey, Bubba! My man!
How we doing today, Booker?
I'm doing great. Now I got to find a way to add a call, and I got to add Ric Beardsley to this, which I think I have. Ric Lax Beardsley. Calling him now, see if this works. Then I got to hit merge calls. Watch this. Oh, he's got to pick up first. Here we go. Uncle Rick, can you hear me?
First of all, can I hear you? Of course I can.
I love you. I love.
I can hear Beardsley. I can hear Beardsley in person down here.
That's what I'm talking about. Be loud and proud. Be loud and proud, Coach Burlace.
Hey, now let me ask. First of all, you guys both hit me up today or yesterday via text about getting some free swag, which I definitely want to get you guys in some Under Armour All-American gear. I need to know your sizes, though, boys. What size you wearing, Uncle Rick?
I'm an XL, brother.
Just an XL?
Are you kidding me? First of all, I'm tuning in right now. You look stupendous in that shirt.
Oh, yeah, I threw some orange on for you, brother. I know where
I
my...
know you're not going to pick the orange.
They still have your mugshot up, Rick?
I don't know what I'm going to look right now. Yours looks good. You got a tie. You got those beautiful pearly whites on.
Yeah. He's wearing Anchorman's tie.
Did you dye your hair in that?
A little bit. Just
may
a
have
tad.
shaped.
Good for you.
Little men's product.
The only thing I care about on Booker when I'm watching, because I watch, is the swimsuit issue right above his shoulder.
Hey, you know, I'm not the first one to say it. Sex sells, buddy. Right?
I mean, and then you got Led Zeppelin, I'm riding a Stairway to Heaven. Yeah, boy.
I got some funk in my bag. Come on, man.
A little bit of everything in that office.
There's a lot of everything in that office.
It's my little man cave right here, and I'm coming off the best weekend ever. I was in Jacksonville with my gal, Tanya McGrath. Heaven. Best weekend. Great game between Utah and Jacksonville. We're going to get a chance to cover some of that. We have a lesson after our game picks to the audience. After our game picks, we are going to go through the lesson of the day, which is how do you encourage kids? How do you two encourage kids to step out of their comfort zone? But first and foremost, did I drop too many Big Lebowski quotes in the Utah-Jacksonville game? That's what I want to know.
No.
Don't think it's possible.
I love it. I love it.
You have to understand, try being me, Booker, being a guy who's totally not a guy who does this, goes on the ACC network, and then on Monday they have a conversation about the play-by-play guys, and both producers are like, yo, he's just not for me. But we don't understand why he gets so many social media hits that people love him.
Yeah. Wait, were they talking about you or me?
No, me.
Oh, I think you're phenomenal. And you bring an enthusiasm and a genuine love for the game that most color guys have. But you have to have that personality and some kind of effusive love of what you're watching in order for the viewers. Because let's be honest, Brian and Rick, you both know that lacrosse has proven it can't carry an audience by itself. You need some kind of entertainment, some other hook to get people to watch. And I think that's why our high school games of the week get so many views. We get 25, 30,000 views a game. So it'd be interesting to see how, that character of the broadcast transfers.
I think we need to team you two clowns up. I mean, just imagine that. And we need to get a picture of Rick from Rick, you were dialed in. You look good. You look
in what? What way?
I loved you, buddy. I was texting you a little bit during it. I thought you crushed it.
Thank you. I couldn't work in the reference. I'm lucky I could take us out the commercial break. For crying out loud.
All right, so let's get to the games. Friday night, we got a Philadelphia rivalry. I coached at Villanova, and I played hockey for University of Pennsylvania, so I'm kind of torn here. The game is at UPenn, but I'm going to take Villanova just because I know that it was always a game that was on, circled on the calendar. I'm going Villanova. Bubba, who are you going with at Penn hosting Villanova?
I'm going UPenn.
Okay. Fair enough. And we need a tiebreaker. Uncle Rick, who are you going with and why?
I'm going Villanova purely for the uniform look.
I like it. Oh, they do have some style. They got some funk in their bag, too.
I am going just from now on, the picks will go based on uniforms.
Yeah, that's like my man Jesse Kohler. He used to pick exclusively based on the font of the number.
In March Madness, how many wives and girlfriends have won based on their uniforms in high school?
Exactly. Or by which mascot's bigger. Like if the Tigers are playing the Seagulls, they take the Tigers. And they don't even know what school it is. They just go by the mascots.
So where's an orange fit into that?
Yeah, Rick.
I'm not, first of all, we're not to that pick yet, Bubba. Can you let him go?
All right, Booker, go ahead.
All right, we got Denver at Notre Dame. I don't need to declare my pick, even though I love Bill Tierney. I think he is the Bill Belichick of college lacrosse, championship after championship. I'm going with Notre Dame. I don't want to jinx them, but I'm still going with them because I love Kev. Uncle Rick, who you got? Denver at Notre Dame.
I mean, why would I ever go against a Corrigan on Corrigan Sports Entertainment's broadcast? The Booker Corrigan Show, episode 11.
I love it. See?
Why in the world would I do that?
Yeah. Why would you ever try that? I love it. So, Bubba, are you jumping on board or are you paddling against?
You know, I was thinking of jumping on board, but I'm going against you guys now.
I like
wow.
that. Yeah.
Good opportunity to pick up a point there.
Oh, by the way, now you walk me right into this question, which I neglected to ask you. We were talking about the Under Armour All-American swag. I asked Uncle Rick if he was an XL, which I think is a fair assessment of the size. Bubba, you picked Denver. What size shirt are you going to be asking for in the Under Armour All-American gear?
We're going double X, and hopefully they're cut a little large.
Yeah, okay.
A little big.
Nah, but that's because you got to remember, Booker, he's like 6'3". You know what I mean?
and he goes by Bubba.
Yeah.
They don't call him Slim.
They seem to make those double X's a little smaller and smaller every year, Booker.
Yeah. Imagine it's the same thing. Your belt holes, the loops keep going shorter and shorter.
It's crazy how that's working.
Yeah. And I also, it reminds me of the movie Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood. There was a character in that movie called Skinny. Was that you?
That would not be me.
That would not.
I was not the body double in that one.
And this time last year, it wasn't me either. I walked up to the producer of the Jacksonville, Utah game, and I said hello, and he looked at me and goes, "Who are you?" He didn't even recognize me. I worked with him for 3 years. This time last year, I was 245.
You had abs going at the pool.
Yeah.
You had abs going.
He's posting bathing suit pictures online.
Oh,
I mean, you had abs. Bubba, when's the last time you saw your abs?
Oh, it was. Whenever it was. I wish it was longer ago.
All right, next.
Right now, he was
see that.
Fourth grade.
No, when he was at Maryland, when he was winning Defenseman of the Year, I think he had a six-pack or somewhere around there.
Something similar.
Maybe a tall boy. Let's get to Duke at Loyola. I'm taking the home team, Loyola Greyhounds. Uncle Rick, Duke Loyola, who you got, my man?
I got Loyola. I agree with that one. I think that Toombs and my old second baseman Matt Dwan will have it ready to go. Loyola is really one of the teams that plays like a team after losing two vital pieces of their program. They've really played like a team and gelled, and that right there will overcome anything.
I love that pick, and I love the reason too. I think Loyola has really glued up because they lost Patrick Spencer, one of the best players ever, and they realize they have to play clean, efficient lacrosse. Bubba, Duke at Loyola, who you got, homie?
Clean sweep. I'm going with the Hounds.
Wow. I think we just guaranteed Duke a win because we're all three of them.
Yes. Don't let Charlie hear this.
Yeah, exactly. I know he's going to kill us. Let's go right to Syracuse at Hopkins. Uncle Rick, who you going with there in the Cuse game?
Oh, this is a really, really tough one. Really tough. Let me think about it. Are you guys kidding me? Are you serious that you even have to ask? Go Orange.
Oh, yeah. I remember standing on the fence when you were playing for Syracuse against Hopkins, and I think Chad Smith was your defensive partner, and I looked down there, I'm like, they got two of the biggest defensemen. It's like trees playing defense out there, and you were laying lumber as if it was part of this sport, or if maybe it was a sport of its own. You look like the dude Seamus from Braveheart. That's what I thought. It was two Seamuses from Braveheart. And, of course,
Was he wearing a kilt?
Yeah. He could have been. I'll tell you what.
By the way, a kilt, Bubba, a kilt with nothing under it. Just want to let you know.
There's no other way.
Yeah.
You'll never take me, but you'll never take my freedom.
I love it. Yeah, I told you it's my island. I'd be Steven in that movie. Bubba, who you going? Hopkins or Syracuse?
I can't go Cuse. I gotta go Hopkins.
Oh,
Gotta go Hopkins.
Wow. Wow.
I was ready for an upset. The Cuse, they haven't been won in a long, but they're number one now. Haven't been won in a long time. I don't think it's gonna last. It'd be an upset, Rick.
It would be a big upset.
The curse of number one.
The curse of number one. It's been what, 3 straight weeks?
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
I hear you.
I was just at the Tampa Delphi game at Hopkins. Saw Coach Petramala. Yep. I'm doing the play-by-play for Hopkins Mount St. Mary's on Tuesday night on ESPN. Make sure you check out that. That'll be a fun one. And as I just alluded to, Mount St. Mary's, Utah plays at Mount St. Mary's. Bubba, who you taking in that one, my man?
I'm going to Mount St. Mary's.
Woo! Tom Gravanti getting a vote of confidence.
That's a long trip out there. I think Tom's taking them down.
Yeah, it's interesting. Side note, Utah will travel over 34,000 miles this year, which might or might not be the most of any D1 team in any D1 sport. Like more than the Hawaii Rainbows football team. That's how much traveling they're doing. So it's kind of, either they're going to get good at it or they're going to get sick of it. It'll be interesting. Uncle Rick, Utah or Mount St. Mary's?
Oh, I'm going Mount St. Mary's. I mean, I love Tommy. I honestly had Mount St. Mary's in my picks for Richmond, to be frank with you. I thought they would give him more. Richmond showed me that they can just break you down, meaning they can just pummel you. But I think Mount St. Mary's will just have too much, in my opinion.
You let the cat out of the bag. I was going to try and get Bubba to pick the Mount St. Mary's Richmond game at the end of the picks and spring it on him and see if he could.
Oh, jeez.
Bubba, you got to be honest. Would you have known that game was played yesterday?
Look, what kind of question is that?
That means you had no idea.
You got me on here for a reason.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, let's go. Sunday. This is a good one. Penn State Cornell. Uncle Rick, I'm going to let you pick first. Penn State Cornell.
Penn State Cornell. I mean, I am going to just go with the Big Red. I love the Big Red. I love Pete. I love the fact that their defense is better. They hung in there. I do love the series that the defenseman took the shot. Then my boy Sam Duggan just said, I'm going to take that one in the chest. They want to win. Penn State has to win, and there's a huge difference.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm taking Penn State. Tambo does nice things for everyone he comes in contact with. I think Jeff Tambroni's a phenomenal person. Close with him. Played against him.
I do, too. I think he's a great guy. It was my assignment in college. Bubba, did you have to guard him when you played those guys?
We never played Hobart. I played against him for a bunch of times with him against in club ball, but we never played Hobart in college.
There you go, Carl Simmons Trophy.
Yeah. So I played against Tambo at Placid, but I was obviously an attackman, so I never had to really worry about him. But I stood there on the midline and watched him and said, Jesus, this guy's really good. Like, efficient. His ratio, his assist to turnover ratio was always positive. Rare a turnover and quite frequent the assist. Let's go UVA at Brown. Coach Tiffany going back to his old stomping grounds. Bubba, who do you like there?
I'm going to have to go against my orange rule on this one. I just do not like picking anything orange. Certainly UVA, but I just don't see UVA losing this game. I think they got their loss out of the way. I think that they're just a much stronger, deeper team than Brown is right now. So I think Lars goes back home and gets a W.
Interesting. Uncle Rick, you picking UVA also?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Without a doubt. UVA's just got – I mean, it will be a fun game if the pace is typically the way it should be. Both teams come from a getting up and down standpoint. Obviously, Lars did it at Brown, now is doing it at UVA. And then Mike Daly was over at Tufts. He had the fastest team and most running gun team in Division III. Now he's brought that style over to Brown, and I think goalkeeping will be big, and face-offs are going to be big, but I think it's going to be one hell of a game. I think it'll be closer than people think.
I think it will be closer than people think. I got my UVA colors on, so I'm going to go UVA. Lars, great friend, played with my cousin Tommy Dwyer at Brown State back in their college days. And I also get to spend Thanksgiving and Christmas with my man Dox Aiken every year. And I was there the first time the Fugler was taken out of the box. If you've never seen a Fugler, go online, check out my pictures, or just go to fuglers.com. You guys got to check out the Fuglers. They have creepily, eerily human teeth, and they're little stuffed animals with the goofiest eyes and little tiny fingernails. So check out the Fuglers. There's a lot of power in them. There's a lot of good luck in the Fugler. Just ask Scotty Rose Growney, the star of the UNC women's team, or one of the stars, because it's a star-ridden roster.
Are you related to every Irish lacrosse player in the history of this sport right now?
I think so. I think between the three of us, I think we've got the entire planet of lacrosse covered. I even broadcast a Japanese national team game in the World Games that were out in Denver in 2014. I would have loved to have done that game with you, Rick.
Oh, I would have went. And Yamasaki from deep. Okay!
But like Mr. Miyagi.
I'm still trying to figure out what the hell a Fugler is, Booker.
Me too. I'm befuddled by that one, and I'm on the internet as we speak.
The Fuglers are great. So, and it leads us right into our lesson. Bubba, what a great job at St. Mary's. And obviously, I mentioned Vic Lilly because there was a nice little momentum change and burst, and the newness of it all seemed to have a real positive effect. And one of the ways that you can affect a kid's life as an assistant coach and a head coach is to help them step out of their comfort zone. What's one of the ways that you do that, whether it's with your own kids or with, the kids that you're fortunate enough to coach?
I think there's a couple ways you do it. One is you challenge them to do something. A lot of kids like to prove you wrong, or to when you say they can't do something or won't do something, they try it out just to prove you wrong. So a lot of times you can challenge a kid, and I think nowadays you try to be more inclusive on stuff. A lot of the kids aren't making they don't make as much fun as the guys that we used to. Like if there was a kid that was a little bit different or did like some different things when we were playing, we tore them apart. It was no question. We had talked a couple episodes. Reese and Farmer were the actors; they were the drama guys, and we gave them a hard time about that. But they liked it and they stuck to it. And Radaball loved boy bands, and he liked to sing a little bit. And, we tore him up, but nowadays, I think you just gotta, let someone do, what they want to do and support them. And if they're gonna do it, just support as a group.
Yep.
So.
And we had our guy. It goes back to our buddy Clint Fuchs from 1993, and he did the play. Yeah. And he dominated. I've never seen a person in a play dominate a stage, and he was our best offensive player. So, which it's a good and bad thing. Good. Rick, how about you? You interact with so many kids, and so many kids are fortunate enough to get your tutelage, get your teaching, get your lessons. How do you help them stretch their comfort zone just a little bit in the time you're with them?
I mean, that's a great question. Every kid these days is done on a case-by-case basis. So it's different than our generation. Our generation, the coach was the almighty. You did what he said and you shut up, right? Now kids, you can yell at some of them. You got to coddle some of them. You can tell them what to do. Some of them don't want to listen. I just think you take them, and if you treat them consistent, meaning like if you're going to yell at your best player, yell at your worst player the same way, on the same mistake, whether they're walking or hustling. And then no one will mind if you yell at each other, if you get yelled at, right? I've always felt that practice is about learning and fun. And games are about you turn all the fun off. It's about intensity and winning. So my practices for me are really different. I let the guys in stretching lines bullshit. I let them talk. I let them, I even get in there and jump in with them and razz them, and they razz me back. You got to let them be them for a certain period of time. And then I have consistency with the drills that I do. We did it at Syracuse. We always did the same 3 things every time we got to practice. And then from that point, it got different. So I was, for me, it really is letting the kids be the kids, and then, having them understand that practice is very different than games. Practice will be, I run the drills in practice, so I don't have time to yell and scream. I'm blowing a whistle because I wanted a certain rate of speed. Games, my intensity steps up well beyond the intensity I had when I played, which is weird. It is. It's a real different intensity. And, because I always say that you guys want me to, do you want me to not coach that hard? Because I coach as hard as I can from the start, no matter whether my firsts are in or my fifths are in. I'm a consistent coacher because those guys are giving up. Those guys, a lot of coaches will take a deep breath. I don't. I don't accept mediocrity in games. That's unacceptable. But the reason why I don't accept mediocrity is because imagine the day you play a perfect game, how good you can be. So I want perfection all the time. That's kind of crazy. That's a very unattainable goal. But aren't we taught to reach for goals or to put goals out there that we aren't supposed to be able to reach, correct? Yeah, so I would, as a freshman, I set a goal to be a first-team All-American when I got to Syracuse, and I didn't get to that till I was a junior. But I set that goal every year. Then I set to, when I got to be a first-teamer, I set to be defenseman here. I never got that, but I wanted to. So it always made me strive, So that's what I've learned. So I want the perfect game. That's really what I want. I don't need the perfect practice, but I want the perfect game.
It's interesting to hear you say that game day is all about that win. Because, when I was a sophomore, I made my first varsity team. It happened to be in ice hockey. And my mom kind of pulled me aside and said, listen, for your entire life, you've heard the words, it's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. But I'm here to tell you that there's a scoreboard at the end of the ice, on the wall of the rink. There's a scoreboard, and it's up there for a reason. It's not just there to keep time. It wants to let you know if you're up 5-1 or down 5-1, you behave accordingly, and you make sure that you get the 5 on your side. So it's interesting to find the way. There's a process of doing things the right way during practice, and that teaching component that really helps kids excel and feel comfortable doing the best they can and being the best version themselves come game day. So it's nice to hear from both of you guys on that lesson of the week. Tomorrow, LAX GOW, LAXGOW is our game of the week, 4 o'clock. Coach John Nostrand, an upstate boy, is going to be his debut as the Gilman head coach. Looking forward to they are playing Ponte Vedra out of Florida, who's the number 25 ranked team in the country.
That's what's his name? Tom West?
Tom West, yep. So that'll be
they down in Florida, Buck?
No, we'll be at Gilman.
Oh, it's up here.
I was over at Gilman.
Bubba's on the scout.
On the scout. Hey, Buck, you got a scouting report for me on that one?
Yeah, at 4 o'clock on LAX GOW. That's your scout.
That's my scout.
It's going to be on TV. Yeah, it's not you can watch it on your device. You can watch it anywhere you get the internet, brother.
I'm going to be in. I'm not lying. I'm watching that game. I want to see how good these Florida kids are.
Yep.
I've seen them play, and, listen, I'm not nationally ranked as far as in the top 25, but there's a team on there from up here who is, and I've just held the F-bomb back, but I'm going to certainly slap them just to prove a point.
I love it. That intensity, you know what? You can only hope to contain it because you can't stop it.
That one I just did get, dude. That was bad, guys. I'm sorry. Like, I really get fired up. Like, that one bothers me.
Yeah.
That one, when I get bothered, listen, we both know this. We've all won state championships in our lives,
Yep.
whether it's coaching or playing. And it takes a lot to do that. And I've always had just like almost one piece of the puzzle missing. And that's what hurts you come playoff time. But I'm going to tell you right now, man, I'm into slapping anybody I can that's ranked ahead of me in life. So I will go in there with a different level of intensity. I just got to that, almost lost myself for a second. Sorry. Holy jeez.
It just preseason warm-up. That's it.
Man, I really did almost lose myself. I apologize. I really do.
This is the
Good thing
best.
Booker's virgin ears. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't be hearing that stuff.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I went through some moments. Yeah, we had some dragons to slay back in the day. But, now I'm calmer. I'm much thinner, so I don't have to worry about making such a, that I just do the more the John Danowski, Dom Starsia type than Bill Tierney. Oof. He can get after you. He can get after everybody.
Yeah.
And he certainly...
Different ways to skin a cat.
Yeah, there are a lot of ways to skin a cat. There are a lot of ways to put on a championship ring, too. So, we shall see.
I got a couple. Anybody need any to borrow? I got a couple.
I think...
I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, I wouldn't. Bubba, that was not meant
We don't
towards you.
bring rings up in this conversation, Booker.
Yeah, it's right.
The only guy I bring rings up to a lot because I have it's called the Derelicts Are Us fantasy football chat. It's me, Towers, Danahay, Doc, Spalina. I'm going to tell you straight up.
Doc.
I bring it up to Doc because he gets going with like 1995, and I'm like, dude, who won that game? Like,
Yeah.
I just talked to him today too. He's my boy, but when he throws those chirps in, I come full bore below the belt, right off the bat.
Yeah.
No, I have no idea. And he takes them. He'll come right back.
Oh my God, he'll come right. Dude, he definitely does. Oh my God.
He won't make any sense, but he'll come back at you.
Exactly, he will.
Look,
Yep.
and I even tweeted out at Brian Doherty before the show that he's on next week. We're going to find a way.
Oh, you gotta love him.
Yeah, we're going to add more.
He's golfing right now with Rambo and Blaze Reardon.
Wow.
Man, they're just splitting atoms out there, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't know the Mensa group golfed.
That is, by the way, that's their coaching staff at Springside Chestnut Hill.
Gotta love those guys.
Oh, they're beauties. They're beauties. Hey, we're wrapping it up. Love you both. Thank you so much for the time.
Brother.
Have a great weekend. And by the way, Uncle Rick, this time next week when we talk and Hopkins has beaten Syracuse, I want a full breakdown on the game. Okay.
If Hopkins does beat Syracuse, I will give you a dissertation on why.
Okay.
Go Orange.
Yeah, I got you, brother. I got you. I love them. That is it for them. What a great day. What a great show. LaxGOW.com is the game of the week site. www.laxgow for the game of the week. It's tomorrow. Ponte Vedra out of Florida, number 25 ranked team in the country. They've 9 All-Americans from either last year or this year on their team. Under Armour, underclass All-Americans. If you want to compete against the best kids in your region, go to the Under Armour lacrosse.com site and register for any of the tryouts. You can live in Florida and come try out in Baltimore. You can live in upstate New York and try out for New England, or wherever you want to try out, wherever you want to measure yourself. Make sure you get to that site because that is the premier showcase, and it has been for over a decade. So this is not some newfangled money grab. This is Under Armour lacrosse. The best players trying out against the best players. You make the team and you play in the best recruiting tournament. And the tryouts, college coaches flock all up and down the sidelines, all up in the bleachers, taking notes. You want to get a chance to get on a college coach's radar. And I'm talking D1, D2, D3, all of them. You get a chance to do it at the Under Armour Lacrosse Underclass Tryout. It is the premier showcase of any that exists, old, new. The Maverick Showtime, I have a ton of respect for, and I think those guys do a good job. That's something that's good and special, and we know that, and I'd be a fool not to say it isn't. But our event, the Under Armour Lacrosse underclass tryout is the premier, and there's no higher honor for any high school lacrosse player than to be named to that senior All-American team. The group at Inside Lacrosse does a phenomenal job of selecting those teams year in, year out. That wraps us up for today. I hit everything on my list. I'm Booker Corrigan, reminding you, you only get one shot at today. What'd you think?